Is speaking critically and negatively to yourself benefiting you? Have you thought of the alternatives you could choose to cultivate a lifelong romance with you, who you are? Today, I'm going to be talking about how you can learn to be kinder to yourself. Cultivate more self-compassion. Even if you have faced unloving, hurtful, and abusive comments. So if we haven't met, I'm Ava. I'm an accredited coach and mental health professional, and I help women with a lot of these issues to overcome their self-limitations and boost their self-confidence so that they can find their purpose in life, healthy love and happiness. Because when we start to treat ourselves kindly, that's the beginning. So by being gentle, supportive, and understanding, rather than harshly judging ourselves for personal shortcomings, we are learning to accept who we are in an unconditional way, even when we make mistakes. So having self-compassion means that we are able to recognize the difference between having a bad day and making a bad decision and being a bad person. So when you have self-compassion, you understand that your worth is unconditional. And the more you practice self-compassion, there is a positive impact on your psychological well-being. And it improves your connections with other people as well. So it makes you more emotionally intelligent, where you become happier within yourself and with your overall life satisfaction. So you increase your resilience, you boost your self-confidence, and then you're able to find balance in everything. So when things don't go well in life, whether we're having a bad day, we lose in a competition, or maybe it's something more serious like losing a job or a relationship, if we lose our sense of self-worth during those challenges of life, we will have a really hard time recovering. So people that lack self-compassion will often exhibit a pattern of unhealthy relationships, because how we treat ourselves reflects how we let others treat us. So if we're unkind to ourselves, then we create a standard for how much abuse we will accept from others. And as a result, we sometimes end up attracting abusive and disrespectful relationships. It could also mean that we hold impossible standards. So we never give ourselves the benefit of the doubt. And if we do that, we'll have the same problem doing it for ourselves. And thinking about others' feelings and other people at break are key skills for being able to develop a solid relationship. So when we have self-compassion, we are less likely to depend on others to validate our self-worth. Self-compassion is absolutely necessary for a healthy relationship. So if we neglect ourselves while doting on other people, this uneven balance will eventually take its toll on us. So when we have true compassion for ourselves first, that compassion then can support a healthy and balanced relationship. So I'm going to just share 5 ways that you can practice self-compassion and stop being so hard on yourself. And the first one is to treat yourself as if you were a child you dearly love. So we all know that if a child falls down and hurts themselves, the first thing we would do is rush over to them and hug them, pick them up, see if they're okay. So we as adults need to do the same thing to ourselves. Use that self-compassion. So we can recognize when a child is hurt, but we need to give that same compassion to ourselves that we would give that child. So in other ways, you could think of it as the way you treat your best friend or even your loving pet, and then try to be using that same self-compassion towards you. The second one is practice mindfulness. So we are always going to be caught up in a barrage of self-criticism. So we can all get swept away in those negative storylines that play on repeat in our heads, where we say things like, you always say such stupid things, or you don't know what you're talking about, or that's why nobody likes you, and so on. This continues. But the more we over-identify with our inner critic, the more we fall into negative rumination. Mindfulness, on the other hand, is a state of non-judgmental awareness, and it can pull us back from both of these. So if we practice simple awareness of our thoughts and feelings, particularly listening to our inner critic without trying to change anything, we just understanding what the inner critic is saying to us. Sometimes it can just be what it was in the past, or why it was protecting us, or why we found comfort or motivation in it. But once you realize and understand that, then you can just let it go and not think about it. The third thing is to remember that you are not alone. So a lot of times we feel that whatever we're facing is only us. But we are all human, and there's so many people, millions probably, that have experienced issues like this. We are all in this together, and none of us are perfect. And we can all begin to feel more connected to each other when we realize that. Because so many people believe that they are broken or messing up, when actually we are just trying to find a way to become better. So self-compassion is about being kind to ourselves and realizing that as a human, we will be imperfect and we all have flaws and setbacks, but that should connect us to each other, not divide us. The fourth thing is to just give yourself permission to be imperfect. We can't be perfect all the time. So it's allowing ourselves that room to have flaws, be sensitive. Sometimes we might be lazy and unproductive without having to define ourselves by those feelings and ways of being. So it's about cultivating a perspective so that we never shut ourselves down and never lose faith in our own potential just because of that. So one day it could be a bad day, but we can still get over it tomorrow. So it's allowing that permission to let yourself slip, to make a mistake, and accept how you're feeling, and acknowledge that other people may have felt that or done that as well. And lastly, it's the best part is to work with a support, find support of a therapist or a coach, because our brains have the ability to learn self-compassion when we cultivate new patterns of thought or behaviors, but that takes effort, and it's learning how to do that. So therapy, it can be a safe environment where you can talk to someone, they can notice your thoughts and feelings, have a realistic perspective of yourself and others, and you can learn how to be more empathetic to yourself. And in time, you will be able to develop your own life perspective. So it's all about finding that safe support. And there are many ways that you can go about this, because a good therapist will help you to see through the smoke and mirrors of negative beliefs to find your way back to being that amazing person you have always been. And a coach does a very similar thing. They're there to listen, to be non-judgmental, and help you to move forward into the future. So if you have any questions, please feel free to book a free connect call with me. I'd love to have a chat with you and discuss where you are and what support you might need. Thank you so much for watching, and look forward to seeing you next time.